everybody, I'm Dakota Gordon with Dakota's Music World, and today I'm joined by Russ Dwarf of the Killer Dwarfs, one of the most unique and high energy bands to come out of the hard rock era of the 80s and the 90s. From wild live shows to a career that has spanned more than 4 decades, the Killer Dwarfs have cemented their place in rock history. Russ, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
It's a pleasure, buddy. No problem.
Um,
You just made me sound really old, which I
First
am.
up, I want to talk a little bit about your band name, the Killer Dwarfs. I mean, it is one of the more unique names of the time, especially with the spelling and the capitalization of certain letters and things like that.
Mhm.
How did this name come about, and what inspired it?
Should I tell a lie or should I tell the truth? Originally we had uh, a management company uh, that came up with the name, and honestly, we weren't too thrilled with it at the beginning. And but a good friend of ours was in the company, Dave Kirby, who's was a president of TKO, who's unfortunately left us, and another guy named Bob Connolly. They came up with this concoction. You know, we were only 20 years old, so we didn't have an album, we didn't have anything, so we went with it, and it served us well. I don't know. It's like Texas. It's a state of mind to be a killer dwarf. And the original thinking was like the three of us out front were all short. Like I'm 5'4", but Daryl's like 6'3". So, you know, it's a state of mind.
So you guys really didn't come up with the name; it was more the label.
It wasn't even a label. It was just a management company that we had at the time, and we were going by Daryl's old name, Sphinx, for a couple of months. The first couple of months of '82, we started like the band started on New Year's Eve in Oshawa, Ontario, at the Grenache Hotel on New Year's Eve, 1981, 8 to 82. So for the first 2 months of '82, I think we were somebody.
Oh
But
wow.
the name helped and hurt. It hurt at sometimes it hurt because they thought we were a punk rock band, or which, wow, that would be terrible. But we're just a straight up rock and roll band, and and it's a goofy name and everything, but yeah, what are you gonna, it's a name.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely set you guys apart, whether that's good or bad, but it
Yeah,
definitely it's
I'm
definitely a
happy.
memorable name.
I'm happy with it. I'm proud to be in the Killer Dwarfs.
I also want to talk a little bit about your iconic "We Stand Alone" music video.
Oh,
I,
oh
I'm
Lord.
I was looking at a few of your music videos the last couple of weeks, and this one just stood out the most to me, I think, because a lot of the other music videos from the time with bands you saw kind of theatrical concert performance
Mhm.
videos basically, and this one was unlike any other. I mean, you have like the humor and the storytelling in it with the puppet on the string, and then you have the cuddly dwarf jumping out of the box. So it's kind of like a twisted Ed Sullivan style performance almost, but then I feel like you guys also kind of have a message in there of labels kind of taking control of bands and like using them as puppets almost. Was this message intentional, and how did you come up with this video idea?
Yeah, there was thought behind it. We had a good team that worked with us when we were independent, that did the video Stand Tall and Keep the Spirit Alive. And it was actually my younger brother Neil, his best friend's brother, who was in film editing and stuff. So it was all on a lick and a promise. Those first two we did, we paid for them ourselves, but it took like 6 months to do them, and they were only like
Mhm.
12 or $14,000 or whatever, but they got us a lot of attention with MTV. They At one time they were like the two most requested independent videos of all time, or some gag like that. But it helped us in the States because we weren't in Canada. We hadn't left Canada yet. So and we had done our second album, Stand Tall, on our own, right? And that album sold really, really well for an independent. It sold like 120,000 units with no, really no record company behind it or anything. But we were still playing shows, all that time in Canada. We were doing, 200, 250 shows a year in Canada. So we hadn't even put Stand Tall out, and we got a call. I'm really going into the weeds here with this. I'll get to the question, but we had our first album out with
Mhm.
Heavy Metal Breakdown with Addict Records, and by the time we came to do the second record, some shit went down, and we got dropped basically, and so we had no label. I borrowed $10,000 off my mother, and we started to record Stand Tall.
Oh
And
wow.
so we did that over like 20 nights over 6 months at nighttime because that was cheaper then with the
Hmm.
producer engineer Andrew St. George, who was amazing. We were young, and we were thinking, oh my God, our career's over. We're never gonna nothing's gonna happen. This is what you think when you're 24 years old. And so we had recorded Santal, but we hadn't had it out. And I got a phone call one night, uh, and it was a guy from San Antonio named Joe Anthony, look him up. He's the godfather of rock and roll. That's what they call him. He's
Oh wow.
long since passed. He did radio since the 50s in San Antonio. And San Antonio is a huge rock and roll town, massive. Like they break bands there, right? But he called my house out of the blue, and this is, you weren't even born. The wheel was current events, right? So I
Hmm.
don't know how he got my phone number, but it obviously wasn't through the record company because they weren't going to tell us anything. And apparently the album was number one in San Antonio, unbeknownst to us. So we did, we were still doing shows here. So he got us in touch with a promoter down there named Jack Orban, who broke a ton of bands. You can look him up too, Stone City Productions. He's since retired, but we're still great friends with him. Unfortunately, Joe has passed on. But so the first time we went there was like we played 4 nights at the Gasworks in Toronto, got in two soccer mom vans, and drove 36 hours straight down to San Antonio to open up for Accept at this place called the
Oh.
Majestic Theater. So that was our very first show
In
at
America?
in America, and that's before we had Stand Tall out or anything. We were
Oh wow.
dropped. We had no label, but we were like really excited to go. And it's a beautiful old time theater, 3,000 seater like Massey Hall, or really not beautiful design. The architecture is amazing in this place. So this was just a magical event for us. And
Hmm.
we're young and just like really full of piss and just, we never took no for an answer. You know what I mean? We just did our
Hmm.
own thing basically. And it was funny because we pulled up behind this theater in our soccer bands, and we got out, and there was like 300 or 400 people there, and they came running towards us,
Oh wow.
and we were like, "Who's in town? Who the hell is it?" Like this is how young and naive we were. So it was for us.
Did you feel like the
And
Beatles getting off the plane?
yeah, exactly. Or a Hard Day's
Mhm.
Night or something. It was just
Mhm.
bonkers. But that town is like they love rock and roll so much. It's the best rock and roll town on the planet, I'd say. So, making the story longer. So that was an epic night for us. It was
Mhm.
really I can think of like 2 or 3 nights in my whole life that I just went, wow, this is just, golden. This is amazing. and the band was great, and we had a great time, and we ended up staying there 2 weeks, and we did more shows. We did some Jack hooked us up with some shows immediately, and we did some sold out shows on our own there, and went to Corpus and blah blah blah. So all this shenanigans that happened got people going in like New York. So we ended up in Queens and at L'Amour's, and everyone came out. All the record companies came out, and we basically signed with Epic out of New York. They had the biggest checkbook, and so by the time, so they didn't bother putting Stand Tall out. They didn't even want Stand Tall. They wanted us to record a new album. So that's where Big Deal came along.
Hmm.
So now you're in the big, you're playing with the big boys here. So everything changes, right? So they knew those videos we did were good for us, right? So we ended up using the same crew and the same writers and everything. So and we named the album Big Deal. Ha ha ha. Right, big deal. Killer Dwarfs, big deal. And it was a big deal. It's just sarcasm on
Hmm.
tap. That's our motto in the Doors is you gotta laugh or you're gonna cry. So
Yeah.
and we're here, we're entertainers, we're having fun. This is like, oh, wait, I'm not a brain surgeon, I don't cure cancer. I'm here to entertain people, right? So we ended up doing that video, and yeah, it was definitely a tongue-in-cheek stab at the big deal and everything.
Hmm.
And I don't think they liked the video whatsoever. And I don't think it turned out the way they wanted it. I don't know. When I look back at it, it's goofy and funny, and it's a stab at the stab in at the industry and everything. But who gives a fuck? At this point, it's like shit, sucks to be true. So yeah, it was a bit of a little jab, but no, the videos were fun and everything. Today it's unfortunate. I guess it's just some a lot of people make videos for YouTube and stuff, but I don't know. There's no channels like MTV and Much
Yeah.
Music. Much Music did so much for us, and they helped their career like that at that time. That was the YouTube of our time, or you know what I mean, kind of thing. And those videos helped out really well, right? So by the time we got to weapons and stuff, these videos were costing over 100 grand, and you had Hollywood and da.
Yeah, we need MTV again. You guys were like on top of MTV Canada at the time,
Yeah,
so
we were lucky, and Daryl and I hosted a lot of power hours and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with those people. All those people were really great with us and really supported the band, and I can't thank them enough. That anybody that's been involved with us really like on the business side, treated us well. But we treat people the way we want to be treated
mhm.
too. We're not jackasses, we're just trying to make rock and roll. That was a long-winded answer.
No, that was perfect. And I mean, you spoke a lot about Stand Tall, but we need that song on streaming services. I mean, that's the only album pretty much that we
Yeah,
don't have on streaming
that's gonna,
services.
yeah, and I was just talking to my publisher about that the other day. So yeah, there's been some legal shit with it, but it's gonna come out. It'll come out this year on the streaming.
Okay, that's exciting because,
Yeah.
a lot of people in like the fan like Reddit and other places were talking about
Are
they're
they?
like because I mean, you'd be surprised how much the vinyl and the CDs are going for on eBay and stuff because
I'm
people just
not
want to.
surprised. I've seen some of the prices and it blows my mind. It's
I
like
mean, like
I've got
a
a bunch
Dirty Weapons
here.
album. It's crazy.
I know, I can't believe it. I see it because people show it to me, and like a friggin' cassette's going for $50. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, all that's physical copies are making a comeback now.
That's great. And Sony's reissued all three Epic records, and they've
Hmm.
added songs to it and stuff like that. And there's a million different versions. It's so hard to, unless you have like a big lawyer, uh, you can't hunt down half this shit. I've seen Stand Tall on labels I've never even heard of before. I'm sure there's a million bootlegs of them. I have like 20 original ones under my bed upstairs. So
It's crazy what people have been able to get away with. I want to talk a little bit about the Dirty Weapons album because I feel like that album, I mean, I listened back to it the other day and it has so much variety. I feel like it didn't get it as much appreciation as it really deserved because you have the title track on a Dirty Weapons and that sounds straight from the time. That one, that's hard rock from
Yeah.
1990, you know? But then you also have songs on there like Coming Through, and Coming Through, I feel like that almost sounds like it's 5 or 10 years ahead of its time, especially that opening guitar riff. It sounds like if that song came out 5 or 10 years later, nobody would suspect that it was out of place. It sounds like a rock song from 1995 to the
Wow.
early 2000s.
I like your analogy. That album did really well for us. Uh, we got the chance to work with Andy Johns. Andy became a really close friend of ours, and we were ready for that record. We were primed. We had toured so much and had, learned a lot by that point. So we had been in pre-production for that record for quite a while. So we had that thing down, and we were just looking for a producer for it. And I wanted to get Rick Derringer because he's one of my all-time favorites, and he's produced a lot of stuff. And then we heard the Cinderella album. We really liked the sound of the drums. Now, this is before the internet, so you couldn't look people up
Hmm.
and you didn't know anything about them, right? So we told Epic that's who we wanted to get Andy, and they didn't want to get him because he's a crazy motherfucker. And he'd worked with them a lot. He's done, like, when I say look him up and you'll go, whoa. Like him and his brother, they've done, probably the top 200 records of all time,
Oh
rock
wow.
and roll records. The two brothers. Andy's 8 years younger than his older brother. His older brother's still alive. Unfortunately, Andy left us in 2013. But a funny story is, so we wanted to meet Andy before we decided to work with him, right? Because you have to get along with people, right?
Yeah.
So we were in pre-production, so we weren't doing any shows. So we booked 5 shows so he could make it to one of them. He missed every show, right? So finally he comes to a show. Okay. He comes strutting in. When you see Andy, he's about 6'4", 240, 50.
Oh wow.
Uh, he's a English dude, right? That thinks he's from Texas. Big Stetson on, purple sunglasses, a satin jacket. He comes, oh, Rizzle. He called me Rizzle. And he comes in the dressing room. He's like, I want to put B3 on your record. And I said, fuck that. I love B3, but at that point, it wasn't like going to fit on the
Hmm.
Dwarf record. Anyways, so we do the show, and I'm walking out the venue with him. And he said to me, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, I want to buy my mom a house. He said, fuck it. I hate your band, but you're fucking funny. Let's do it. This is just a really sarcastic guy. So this started a journey with us, with him, and Dirty Weapons took 6 months to make. We did it in LA. We did it at Sunset Sound and the Right Track, and most of it was at a place called O. Henry's, which was a private studio in Toluca Lake that Leon Russell had owned. But Hank Santacolli Jr., who was the son of Frank Sinatra's manager, owned this
Wow.
property. It's an intense place, a lot of really heavy duty place. But we worked really hard before we even got in there, right? By the time we went, we did 2 weeks of pre-production with Andy on that record, and it was basically to get endings and some tempos and stuff like that. And like I said, by then we knew what we were doing. So his job, the producer's job, is to pull the best performance out of you. You know what I mean? And I think he
Hmm.
did. I think he did on that album. That album is, it's in our catalog. I love the album from top to bottom, and it really helped us a lot, and it's a good record. And I'm glad I love your analogy of it. I think the songs still stand up today
Hmm.
too. Like any of the stuff I really, I'm not too gassed on doing anything from the first album, but we do. but I'm not ashamed of doing anything on any of the records really. And that record, I'm super proud of it.
No, I mean that in my opinion that's your best record because I mean Doesn't Matter is such a great song.
That's a funny story from that song. So we had, like I said, we'd written probably 30 songs for that record and we picked the 10.
Hmm.
And when we were in pre-production with Andy, like in LA, he said after a rehearsal that we need a ballad or something because it was the thing of the time, right? And we were just, pounding. We were really pounding the tunes, right? And so Mike and I went back to the apartment and we wrote that song in 20 minutes.
That took 20 minutes to write.
That was 20 minutes. That came right out and it's been one of our biggest songs. And I love that song. It's a great song and it's touched a lot of people, like our fans, what it's over the years, it's like I've had, it's just it's odd and it's humbling when grown men come up to you and are crying and saying, that helped me through a tough time of my life.
And
You know,
I was just talking about this with someone the other day. It must be so interesting for you when people come up and tell you what part of their life you've been in. So they feel like they already know you. They feel like they've like grown up with you, but in reality, you've never seen them before in your life.
yeah, it's like what Neil Peart said in that, I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend.
Mhm.
But the fans are, we feel like a family with them. Like,
Mhm.
we're not friggin' Bon Jovi status or Metallica, but there's a place for us. There's a place for everyone, right? It's like everyone, if we didn't like different things, we'd all be the same. And we have a great, solid fan base, and they're dedicated to us. And I think the songs speak to them, like especially like not only musically but lyrically, because we always try to, have a positive
I
message.
mean, that's what's so cool about music is that it can be so powerful and you guys can joke around, but then you can still have a serious aspect to it and you have fans that still support you. You have a strong following still. So,
Yeah, we're lucky. Well, it should be fun, right? It's entertainment. I'm not
mhm.
there to like tell people my political views
Yeah,
and
no.
I'm gonna cry and whine to you. I want to make you laugh. I want to tell a joke. It's like my wife always says, shut up, you talk too much. And, but I love talking to the audience and I think they get it. They get the
Mhm.
joke, especially if they know us, you know what I mean? So we joke around, but we take it seriously, obviously, or we wouldn't still be around after 44 years or whatever the hell it has been, you know what I mean? But it's got to be fun, and especially with the way the world is up, seems everybody says that in every decade. I think, oh my God, it's the end of times. Jesus. Holy Christ, get the kids, get the Bible and gun, let's go. But, you know, if it helps people, that's what it's meant to
Mhm.
do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We're not dentists, we're entertainers.
Going off of that, I mean, I've always respected you guys have stayed true to yourself. You never sold out to what was like the norm of the times or what was like the fashion for music of the times. You guys always stayed true to your kind of music and your fans. And I think that's amazing that you were able to have such a successful career and not doing what you were quote unquote supposed to be doing, but doing what you guys felt was right. So.
Yeah, we're probably too dumb to do it the other way. But, yeah, we just go with what we feel, we have to feel it
Mhm.
first. You know what I mean? I don't think anything that we are doing, it's coming from the heart. We're not like, oh my God, we got to get on this trend. Holy Christ. Oh. And especially at our age, it's like we're not in the fight anymore, right? We're not in the game. We're old men, right? And it's a legacy. We're just enjoying at this point. So it's all gravy at this stage of the game, and it's to do a gig and see your fans and interact with that. It's a gift, or it's a blessing. You know what I mean? What a life! Like we've had an amazing life. Super grateful. You know.
And speaking of that, you guys, as you said, you've been on the road for 44 years. You've toured with some legendary bands. You've toured with Iron Maiden, Skid Row. Do you have any stories from your time touring with any of these bands that really captures what that era was like for you guys?
The most fun thing about rock and roll to me, like, is being in a band and the
Hmm.
camaraderie with your pals and stuff. You're like land pirates and stuff like that. And of course, there's a momentous moments and stuff, but we could be in bumfuck Idaho, the four of us in some shitty fucking motel, with no one around, sitting by the pool, and we're pissing ourselves laughing. We have fun together. The four of us have a lot of fun together. The five of us, with including Robbie. But we make our own entertainment. But obviously, there was some like epic adventures that we've had. You know what I mean? The Maidens, being with Maiden was, an incredible opportunity for us, and I can never thank them enough for what they did for us. And they were they treated us like equals, and we went to some amazing places with them, and some dream like for me, personal dreams were achieved. We
Hmm.
played 4 nights at Hammersmith and
Oh wow.
two nights 2 nights at Wembley, on a tour with them. And that, especially Hammersmith, this is a gig that it's just every band we grew up with, live from Hammersmith, Queen, Thin
Hmm.
Lizzy, and like to be there on that stage is just, when you're, 26 years old, it was fucking awesome.
It's kind of like an I made it moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just, and it's surreal in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that many surreal moments when, as you get older, I think because you're more jaded. I don't,
Hmm.
maybe not. I don't know. I still have great, some nights when we're playing, it's just like, yeah, fucking right. This was worth the fucking scars.
I mean, and speaking of still playing, I was watching one of your live videos. I think it might have been from like 2023. It was only a few years ago, and I was watching you guys play a couple of the songs. And I mean, I was listening to Dirty Weapons, for example, and your voice still sounds incredible after all these years. I mean, how are you able to maintain such a powerful voice, especially with how hard these songs are to sing with the belting? And you've managed to maintain a level of power that a lot of artists you see aren't able to compete with anymore.
It's all tape. I don't know. The worst gig besides the drummer. Like a drummer has the worst gig because it's so physically
Hmm.
torturous on their bodies. Like after, 40 or 50 years, you're hurting. Like he's a fucking monster drummer. And but people don't realize like the torture of
Hmm.
drumming, right? But singing is the fucking worst job as well, because you're like worried about your voice all day long. It's like you wake up and you're in some hotel dried out, and or depending on where you are, and you're paranoid about it 24 hours a day. It's just reality. Like what I don't warm up, or I didn't have any lessons. I come from a Scottish family that everybody was screaming all the time, so there was a lot of screaming going on. I don't, I'm knock on wood, like I'm still able to do it. I know when I suck, right? And everybody
Hmm.
can't be like on every fucking night, and it's live, right? And it's like you're mentally juggling, right? I'm trying to
Hmm.
remember the words, I'm trying to work the audience, I'm trying to sing in key, I'm trying to remember where I am and then what I'm gonna have for dinner later, and blah 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 blah. But I usually like I sing a lot at home to but like if I know I'm gonna be out in a month,
Hmm.
I'll sing 2 days on, a day off, 3 days on, a day off. But I don't sing my stuff. I sing basically stuff that I grew up with, or I put on, I just like, oh, I'm gonna sing Cheap Trick, I'm gonna sing Rick Derringer, I'm gonna sing Alice Cooper, I'm gonna sing some Rush, or, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, right? So that I don't know. I've been lucky, knock on wood. And I've had some serious operations where they had to fuck with my vocal cords, but didn't seem to affect them. Thank God.
I mean, you're still singing great, and also the
Thank
live
you.
album that you guys have on streaming services. That's a great album. I know that's from a little while ago now, but
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
also a great album. I mean, if you look at the landscape, to me, like the you still have the voice. If you listen to like Sebastian Bach, he still has
Yeah.
the voice, but it's amazing you're able to sustain it for so long. So many people we're seeing aren't able to do that anymore, and it's sad because they all still want to be on the tour,
Yeah.
but I mean you can't control what's going to happen when you age. You know what I mean?
You can't, and like I said, for singers, it's the worst.
Hmm.
When you know you're sucking, it's a fucking hard night. You really gotta you be a good actor, right?
Hmm.
Well, you're just worried about it all the time. You might overthink. I don't know. I'm just talking me personally as a
Hmm.
singer. Everybody has their little things they do and stuff like that. But I think when if you're playing a lot of dates in a row, the best thing for it is you got to get a good night's sleep, which is pretty much impossible when you're getting up at 6 o'clock to fly to the next city. You
Hmm.
know, like we're not, we usually when we tour now, it's like we're flying every day. So it's like it's hard on the pipe. So you can't talk a lot, and which sucks because I like to talk. And you freak out about it and pray to God it works. You know what I mean? The fear of God will make the fucker work.
Before we get into your future plans, I wanted to do a quick little game. I was looking through what some fans were saying on online things like Facebook and Reddit and things like that, and I want to see
Mhm.
if these are myth or if they're
Okay.
facts.
All
So
right.
one fan said that when they saw you at a Canadian festival, you came in on a tricycle. Is that true?
I've been known to ride a tricycle many times. Yes. The tricycle is it's in that video. We stand alone and that gag.
Hmm.
It's been in our show for like 40 years, the tricycle gag. So, and
How'd that start?
it's stupid shit, right? It's like, so
Hmm.
we were playing some bar. I'm pretty sure it was in Alberta or something. And back in those days, they used to have wet t-shirt night and I don't know, they had something to do with the tricycle. I guess they were riding tricycles or some shit for, drunken people. And I saw the thing and I got on it and I started riding around on the thing, right? And everybody went berserk and mental.
So
So
you kept it in?
we kept it in, and so I used to ride it around every night and then I'd smash it to pieces. Like
Oh
we
wow.
would smash a tricycle to pieces every single night. That went on for years. That cost a lot of money.
Yeah, most bands do a guitar. You guys do a
I,
tricycle.
I don't think I could do a guitar. I could do a tricycle, but we don't really do that anymore.
Mhm.
We do have it out as a prop and everything, so people get to see it because people want to see it. Ride the
Mhm.
tricycle, man. So, the Iron Maiden guys got a real kick out of that one.
And another fan said that you did a handstand on a table in the crowd when they saw you perform.
Yeah, yeah, that's me. I used to do a lot of gymnastic type stuff, and I stand on my head and do handstands and all sorts of falling down. It looked like I was probably severely drunk or mentally impaired. But yeah, if you saw my show, especially the older ones, I don't think I'm probably a spaz. Like I'm not David Lee Roth, right? I'm not like, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm a 5'4" guy. I had to make my own entertainment, right?
Yeah,
And the music,
exactly.
the music makes me do what. whatever I've done, I blame it on the music. But I used to be a lot acrobatic type circus clown guy. That also, as I got older, it caused a lot of injuries with me. So I've had a lot of operations on my spine. So kids, whatever you do, don't get in a rock band, stand on your fucking head.
Well, then that might also answer the last question. But if this is true, I want to know how security felt about it because somebody said you swing from the rafters during your shows.
I have been known to swing from the rafters. Yeah.
How did security feel about that one?
I don't know. I've done all, we used to do that in the old days
Mhm.
because we used to really go mental with theatrical stuff. We used to chop up teddy bears, and we had a giant axe and a grinder and Godzilla head and fake blood and breakaway bottles and all sorts of stuff. And at one point early on, we had well, I don't know, we were taking a piss in a in an alley at someplace, and we found this giant like friggin' rope. It was like a massive rope with a big hook on it, and we thought, oh fuck, that'll be hilarious. Let's next gig we go to, we'll hook it to the ceiling and I'll swing off the drum riser. So I used to, and I used to wear like a loincloth, like made out of a couple of chamois. I don't know if people know what chamois are anymore. But I look like Tarzan, right? We were young, you're half naked all the time when you're that age. And I would swing out over the crowd, come back, way out, do that constantly, right? And one show we were playing in Montreal at a place that's now defunct. This club was like an old theater, and so it was a really high ceiling, and
Mhm.
the drum kit was on a riser, and I could swing right out over all the tables. I could just like go huge, like take a big run, and I'd fucking go around a couple of times. So we were playing there for 7 nights because
Oh,
used to play like 6 or 7 nights, 4 45, 50-minute sets a night, matinee on Saturday. They were always fun. And so the crew forgot to, check the rope like halfway
oh boy.
through the week, right? So here I go, I fucking swing out there, and the fucker lets go. So this giant metal thing, bang, hits me on the head, and I fly across these tables. Like I flew across like 12 tables on my back and just like crashed into everybody, smashed everything up. But yeah, used to swing on a rope.
Did you finish that show, or did that
Of
show?
course.
You finished the show?
We finished the show. We finished that set, and then we went upstairs, and our sound man, Gerald McLaughlin, his nickname is Voodoo. He uh he was an airbrush artist,
Hmm.
and he airbrushed on my back. Ouch. Like I would bleed, I'd be bleeding every night of my life. Like
And
my toes would bleed in my shoes, and I'd have more scars and bruises. And yeah, you can't tell that I still have my Paul Newman good looks. I have a lot of scars on my face, you know,
but it was for the show, so it
all for
was worth
rock and
it.
roll, all for rock and roll. I've had my eye popped out of my socket one night by
Wow.
Jerry's guitar.
He swung the guitar at your face on it?
No, I just my guitar, my face somehow hit his guitar, and one of the toggles didn't have a rubber thing on it, and it pushed my eyeball out of my eye
Oh
socket.
wow.
So the road manager, I ran backstage, and I was bleeding. He just pushed my eyeball back in, and we continued on.
That, that's crazy. Um, Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about your future plans. I know you got a couple cool shows coming up. You got one on the Monsters of Rock cruise, which I think Night Ranger's on that cruise. I think Great White might be on that cruise.
Who do I want to see? DAD and the Darkness And we're going to meet up with our old friend Steve Harris. His band's on there, British Lion.
Oh, that's cool.
We've done, this is probably our 11th or 12th Monsters of Rock, and it's the greatest cruise for rock and rollers. If you ever get a chance to do it, it's awesome. We've met so many great people over the years, and it's like the shows are almost secondary at this point because we have such a great group of people we've met from all over the world that this is where we meet whenever we get to be on the cruise and we hang out and just, have a good time. But Larry Moran at Mork and Monsters of Rock, greatest people, treat us great. We have an amazing time, lots of fun.
And you're also playing at the Whiskey, I think, later this year. I think
Yeah,
closer to the end of the year.
right after the Jericho cruise, we're gonna head to the Whiskey. I think I don't know what is that
I think it's
November
November.
14th or something? Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
that sounds
Jake.
right.
Jake from the Whiskey is awesome. We've played there probably, I don't know, 10 times.
It's such an iconic venue.
Yeah, and that's another place. Yeah, that's cool. When you first play there, it's like, wow, it's fucking Whiskey.
Mhm. Are there any other shows or albums that fans could be looking forward to coming out or going to see?
Right now we have two brand new songs we're going to release this year. So they're already done. They're just in the mixing stages right now, but I think we're gonna release them like one at a time kind of thing. So there's brand new Dwarf music coming out, and you'll be able to get Stand Tall on the streaming stuff soon. And I think also Reunion of Scribes, the first live album, will be on there as well. There's a ton of movies that have taken a bunch of songs uh, out there. So
Hmm.
that's a cool thing for us. I think we're in like four or five movies right now. And but looking forward to putting out the new tunes to see what people think. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to hear old
Hmm.
stuff and everything, but we write tons of music, and
But the new stuff is great too. It's great to hear
I
that you
hope
guys are
so.
still putting stuff out.
Well, I hope you. I will see what you think of it when you hear it.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. I mean, we got some new music, we got Stand Tall coming out on streaming services, some live albums, and we got some shows to look forward to. So
You
it's gonna be
do?
exciting year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good year. Well, hopefully we get to see you at some show. You're more than welcome to come,
Yeah, thank you.
but you'll have to pay double.
Perfect. I wouldn't expect anything else. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today. It was truly an honor to
It's
get
my
to hear
pleasure,
what you have to say.
Dakota. My pleasure. I'm glad you're so young and keeping the rock and roll flame alive. It's awesome. We're all slowly going day by day, so it's up to people like you who
We got
enjoy
to
this.
keep it alive.
You got to keep the spirit alive, baby.